Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Janet Spriggs and it's my honor to be the president at Forsyth Technical Community College. Today I'm also honored to have the opportunity to talk with our Associate Vice President for Transformative Learning, Dr. James Cook. James, welcome. This is our very first video conversation that we will be sharing both internally with our Forsyth Tech family as well as externally to share some important information and topics throughout the year about what is going on at Forsyth Tech and what our focus is and who we are, just to let the community know more about Forsyth Tech and our students. So thank you for being my very first guest for this video conversation.
Thank you.
We want to talk today about a topic that is, as you know, incredibly important to all of us at Forsyth Tech, and that's equity. As you know, your team led some work for us a few weeks ago to produce a video series that utilized all of our executive leadership team members, our vice presidents and associate vice presidents who sit on the president's cabinet, to talk about why equity matters to them. And we've shared that video now with our college community, and I'd just like to talk a little bit about some things that I heard to start us off, some things that I heard from that video series that you did for us. Is that okay?
Yes, that is fine.
Okay, wonderful. So some of the words that our team members used to define equity and what equity means to them were fairness. Someone said we're obligated to treat each other fairly. Some people said that students should have the opportunity to be successful in college, and they talked about our tagline that we are a place of promise and what that means to them with regards to equity. We heard that equity is a race and that everyone should have the same equipment and the same opportunity to run that race fairly and to be successful. And we heard that equity is about compassion and caring and empathy and giving the next generation more opportunity. We heard that equity is access, and we heard that it's about opportunities for everyone to be successful. And we also heard that equity is economic mobility and that it's student-centered and that it's a culture of belonging. So that's kind of a preface about some things that I picked up from those snippets from our team members. What do you want to share today with our audience about what equity means to you and why equity matters to you?
Equity matters to me because, like I mentioned in the video, my daughter, for one, my daughter is 4 years old. Her name is Cadence. And I just want to make sure that her life is prepared and safe, and make sure that she's able to get the opportunities that she needs to have to be successful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you did. You spoke eloquently about that in the video, and I was touched by that. All of us have different life experiences, and we are different people. We come from different races and ethnicities and cultures and backgrounds. And I think that all of us want our children to do better than we've done. And I think that's a big part of what our students are here for. I talk to students a lot. And in my dissertation, when I was working on my doctorate, a theme from that work was the importance of students making a life that was going to help their children have a better future was a predominant theme in my research during that time. And I think for a lot of our students in particular, who, as you know, come from such diverse places in life, we have a plethora of cultures and ethnicities and backgrounds. And so this equity work at Forsyth Tech is really important for us. And it's so important, as you know, that we built our entire vision, our shared vision, to be a catalyst or a change agent for equitable economic mobility, because we believe so strongly in our mission as a community college to capitalize on that power of higher education and to use it to help people create that better life that they're looking for. But what we said at Forsyth Tech is, not only do we want our students to be successful at creating that better life, but we want every student to have whatever it is they need to be successful. And that means meeting those students where they are, right? And that's all about equity, isn't it? Do you agree?
I agree 100%. I think as we show our equity statement and show that we're really serious about making these changes for the betterment and intentional design for the college experience,
Right.
I think it just shows the importance of equity.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we also joined Achieving the Dream, and you and Dean Anu Williams have co-chaired that Achieving the Dream effort for the past over a year now, right? And that work is also to ensure, as our equity statement says, that we're grounding this work in a culture of belonging, but that also everything we do here is designed to allow every student to have whatever it is they need to be successful. So in my clip in the video that we did, I talked about the difference between equity and equality. And I used an example that I stole, quite frankly, from the Belk Center and the Aspen Institute because it so strongly resonated with me. It was an example of, if you imagine a fence and you see people standing in front of the fence, and maybe one person is tall enough to see over, the other person has a box that allows them to see over, another person maybe has a box but they still can't see over because they're vertically challenged. Maybe there's someone who's in a wheelchair and they can't see over the fence. Equality would be that we give everybody the same size box to elevate them. But then if we did that, we perhaps would still have people that just because they've got a level playing field with the same size box, they still can't see over the fence. Equity in that example is when you give everybody the right size box, so that if I need, a 2-foot scaffolding to help me up, that's what I get. But if I need 6 feet, that's what I get. And to me, that is just a perfect example of equity. But I took it one step further, as did the Belk Center in Aspen, and they showed the fence removed. And they said that is when we have liberation. And so that's just my idea on the difference between equity and equality. I'd love to hear your thoughts about that, or your own thoughts about the difference between equality and equity.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with that image, and I think that is the perfect depiction of what equity looks like, liberation exactly. I try to explain equity in terms of the golden rule versus the platinum rule. And the platinum rule says, do unto others as you would have them, as they would like to be treated, basically.
Right. Yeah, and so the Imagine 2025 work that we're doing is really designed to help us figure out how to manage that complexity. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely.
And to create that. How do you think we're doing with that charge?
I think we're doing well. We submitted our action plan of how we intend to approach creating a student-focused culture back in July. And we are moving right along and doing some intentional work to make sure that we continue to develop our climate and culture of belonging.
Yeah, that's so important to us, and so important that when we added our equity statement as part of our Vision 2025 strategic plan, we called that out and said equity's grounded in culture of belonging. And so we're doing a lot of work to try to really truly embrace that culture of belonging for everyone. So you lead our Department for Transformative Learning, which includes a whole lot of things, but one of the things is the Center for Teaching and Learning, right? And that team, all of your teams, but that team specifically plays a really important role in addressing equity for the college. What can you tell me about how your department and the Center for Teaching and Learning, what are you doing to address equity matters here at Forsyth Tech?
Sure. We're partnered with several people that have been part of different conversations, such as the Courageous Conversations this past summer in 2020, the Black Males Luncheon in October, and other events that took place to show that Black Lives Matter and equity matters. And so we're partnering together to create a series called Equity Matters. And our first series within that umbrella is demystifying the Black Lives Matter movement and just providing Black Lives Matter education. And so we have a 4-part series that starts February 4th and goes on every Thursday until the 25th before we transition to a summit starting in March. And we'll have Dr. Gene Nichols here on March 17th through Zoom. And he's one of the people that wrote the book for Poverty in North Carolina. And it's one of the books in our common read that came out of Magic 2025.
Right. And so tell it a little bit for anyone who might be watching us, the common read. What was that? What was that common read initiative that we did?
The common read was based on us trying to create an umbrella of what equity really is by looking at different books to determine exactly how we can all see it, how we can read about it, get more education, and discuss it. And so we had 4 books that people could choose from. And again, Dr. Gene Nichols' book was one of those books. And the goal was to create a common language, so to speak, to make sure that we are all speaking from the same dictionary per se, or whatever you want to call it, lexicon. And that's what the common read was.
And we asked all of our staff and faculty to participate in that. And now we're going to facilitate some active and potentially courageous conversations around that, right?
Right, and we've had some conversations last year, the end of last year, that went extremely well. And we're working with the Council for Equity, Belonging, and Inclusion to see how we can expand that further to be more of a common, maybe a common understanding, because we want to incorporate media as part of that, since books may not be everyone's preference.
Right.
And I'm an audio person, so I think that's an equitable move.
Absolutely, it certainly is. Good point. So I think that leads me into another area. One of the things about the common read that you just said was that we wanted to make sure everybody's singing from the same hymn book, right? Talking from the same dictionary or lexicon. We want to make sure that we all have a good understanding of when we use these words, equity and other words as we're doing this work, that we understand and agree on what we're talking about. And that went into the decision that I made with input from the entire college and support of the executive leadership team around our one word for 2021, which we shared on January 1st, which is unite. Last year, our word was elevate, and we elevated, certainly through COVID-19. We had no choice but to elevate. And now we've done some great work together, and we've got a solid foundation through our Achieving the Dream Action Plan and through our strategic plan, Vision 2025, and our goals and outcomes that we're working towards achieving for our students. But we also now need to really stop working, if there's still pockets of silos anywhere in our institution. This unite concept to me says we're going to eradicate all those silos, knock them down, get rid of them, and move on together in a way that we're so much stronger together than we are individually, and we have a common purpose and a shared vision. And so that's what Unite is about. And I think one of the things that we know we need to do is be willing to own when things are not what they should be, not to look at our institution to try to cast blame or to make people feel bad or to do anything negatively, but rather to just courageously and boldly declare when things are not equitable and where we have practices that maybe have hidden biases built in and that are creating inequities. We've got to be willing to say that's the way it is, and also to say we don't accept that that's the way it should be, and we're going to change it. And so we added a cabinet position last year for the vice president or 2 years ago now, for the vice president of equity and inclusion. And as you know, Dr. Cherry, our VP, retired in December. We're still going to replace that position, but I also asked you if you might lead some work with a consultant that we've brought in to help us really assertively approach expansion of this equity work, doing an assessment of really where we are and opening, seeing with clear eyes where we are and what we need to do better. And I'm really proud that our consultant, Dr. Krishana Hines-Gaither, is also a Forsyth Tech alumna, if I'm not mistaken. And so could you maybe talk a little bit about Krishana and her work with us?
Sure. Krishana has been an amazing person to work with so far.
Mm-hmm.
She is advancing the work that our first consultant, Dr. William Lewis,
Mm-hmm.
took on for us, and he did some excellent work to provide 13 recommendations. And then Dr. Krishana Hines-Gaither will look at those along with her own work to determine exactly, like you said, what the climate is through
Mm-hmm.
a survey and whatnot. And so she is having a lot of conversations with different groups, and also helping us to even be part of the first part of the 4-part series of the Black Lives Matter education,
Mm-hmm.
to give introduction to the Black Lives Matter movement. But ultimately she'll be here starting in January, like she's already started, and then until the end of April. And so I've been very happy with the work so far.
Wonderful. So this has been a great conversation. I really appreciate you, James, taking the time to start us off with this inaugural video of our video series for this important topic. Is there anything about this topic, or just you've got a moment here with the camera and an audience, anything else you'd like to share while we're together?
This is meaningful work, and I'm very happy to take this on and lead what I can in the interim. And I just want to make sure that we do put this into action, as you said, because it's very important for the students that we serve that they are into our student-ready culture.
Right.
And to be student-ready, this is the type of bold work that we need to do, so we can make sure that no matter who it is that come through our door, that they are supported, and they are supported holistically.
Yes, I agree. With excellence, right?
With excellence.
Intentionally, proactively, relationally. I tell our students all the time that once you are a Forsyth Tech member of the Forsyth Tech family, you're always a member of the Forsyth Tech family. We want you to eventually go on to the next part of your journey, but we're also going to be very proud to still remember that you're part of us as well. Thank you, James, for being willing to, on top of your already busy job, take on this extra work to work with our consultant, Dr. Hines-Gaither, and to lead Imagine 2025 and the guiding team and all that work. It's been a pleasure having you leading that work. You've done a great job. And I look forward to seeing what we get from our partnership with Krishana and all the great work that lies ahead for Forsyth Tech as we make our way to Vision 2025. So thank you all for taking the time to visit with Dr. Cook and I. I look forward to more of these types of video engagement opportunities with you over the coming year. And thank you for always remembering that Forsyth Tech is your place of promise.